Hello, everyone. I'm Rima Zalghut. I'm the librarian at the Arab American National Museum's Russell J. Bade Library and Resource Center. I want to say thank you for joining us for the 17th Annual Arab American Book Awards tonight. Before we get started, I would like to ground us. The Arab American National Museum sits on Anishinaabe land and resides within the region with the highest concentration of Arab Americans in the nation. We also acknowledge our neighboring city, Detroit, as Anishinaabe territory and other indigenous peoples' land, as being the largest Black majority city in the nation with a long legacy of African diasporic contributions. Together, we also uplift and honor the indigenous and diasporic communities from wherever you may be joining us from if you're watching via live stream. Each year, winners are selected by committees of judges, which include scholars, educators, authors, several of whom are here tonight. I want to say thank you so much for your dedication and commitment to the Arab American Book Awards. It is literally not possible without you, so thank you so much. I would also like to highlight that two of our book awards are named in honor of our great supporter, George Ellenbogen, and his late partner, Evelyn Shakir. Dr. Ellenbogen is with us tonight, and we are appreciative of his continued support. Following the book awards, there will be a book signing, and we will be holding an open mic for Palestine hosted by George Abraham. George Abraham, Arab American Book Award winner, former artist in residence at the museum, and book award judge. We welcome you all to stay after the ceremony to participate in the event. You can still sign up for the open mic by scanning the QR codes located behind select seats in the room, as well as on the walls. As we embark on this night, it is important to remember that we are not gathered today in celebration, but instead in resistance and mourning. As we bear witness to the genocide happening in Gaza, as we watch leaders and representatives perpetuate stereotypes and dangerous rhetoric, it is important to highlight the power and necessity of scholarship and writing by Arabs, about Arabs, and our varied lives and experiences. Well-known children's literature researcher Radine Sims Bishop describes books as mirrors and windows, windows into the reality of others, and mirrors that reflect the lives of the readers. She also says, when people cannot find themselves reflected in the books that they read, or when the images that they see are distorted, negative, or laughable, they learn a powerful lesson about how they are devalued in the society in which they are a part of. Tonight acts as a reminder of our value and power through the written word. The first award that we are presenting tonight is the winner of this year's Evelyn Shakir Nonfiction Award, an honor that goes to scholarly and creative works that successfully weave the stories of our community with the realities we live in. Tonight, we begin with the Nonfiction Academic Award. Edward E. Curtis IV's extraordinary monograph, Muslims of the Heartland, is our choice for the 2023, this is from the judges themselves, just to clarify, Nonfiction Arab American National Museum Book Award. The book is both poignant, insightful, giving us detailed narrative about the Southwest Asian and North African migrations to the United States, especially in the oft-neglected Midwest. In doing so, Curtis offers readers a brilliant meditation on the messiness of belonging and how geography refracts identity differently across religious and class lines. This expands and enriches our understanding of Arab American identity and articulates a communal call to remember the complexity and congestion of geography and place. The imaginative history reframes what Curtis describes as our interconnected past as Arab Americans, which he contends may offer stories that pave the way for reimagining a different future. Please welcome Dr. Edward E. Curtis IV to the stage.
In the summer of 1936, Arab American Muslims from across the Midwest arrived in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, to celebrate the first anniversary of the Rose of Fraternity Mosque, also known as the Muslim Temple. It was a joyous affair. Local community members Elaine Graham, Lucille Mann, and Margaret Hamad sang To a Wild Rose. Participants belted out Arabic songs too. Several speeches were given in Arabic, and many of them were intensely patriotic. At the very same moment, Palestinians were revolting against their British occupiers and Zionist settlers. And the mosque's anniversary celebration was dedicated to Arabs in Palestine. Attendees donated $294, worth over $6,000 today, to relief efforts for Palestinians. For a century, our parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, and sometimes great-great-grandparents in the Arab Midwest have been fighting for Palestinian freedom. I thank them and I remember them this evening for entrusting us to continue their struggle and for inspiring me to write down their stories. My deep gratitude to the Arab American National Museum for this award and to all the people in this room and beyond who helped me write the book. Thank you.
The second Evelyn Shakir Nonfiction Creative Award goes to Ghassan Zeineddine, Sally Howell, and Nabeel Abraham for their work Hada Baladuna. The judges said, editors Ghassan, Nabeel, and Sally have captured diverse, often poignant moments of the Arab American experience in Hada Baladuna, Arab American narratives of boundary and belonging. This volume succeeds in its goal of offering a personal collection of essays that capture what it means to be Arab American in Metro Detroit. Dearborn and its communities are vibrant, present throughout every story, as are the boundaries of belonging and difference that permeate the Arab American experience. The contributors of this narrative collection share their memories of love, pain, confusion, and joy, and present readers with a rare chance to glimpse through the window of family homes and corner shops. They have succeeded in making us feel a part of Dearborn's bustling streets, showcasing how Arab Americans are as much a product of roots as we are of routes, divergent trajectories, and messy realities. This award honors the editors for their success in creating a long-awaited anthology that contains our multitudes as Arab Americans. Please welcome Ghassan and Sally to the stage.
That's my daughter. Thank you all for being here, and thank you to the Arab American National Museum and the judges for giving us this award. On behalf of the editors of this book, including yours truly, Sally Howell and Nabeel Abraham, we're deeply honored to accept this recognition. We thank our friends and family for all their support. We spent years editing this book, and in the process, we got to know the remarkable contributors. If you don't mind, I'd just like to recognize these writers. Hanan Ali Nasser, Dunya Mikhail, Yasmin Muhammad, Yusuf Al-Qamusi, Yasmin Rukhia, May Jukopowski, Jeff Qaroub, Rania Matar, Hayan Sharara, Terry Bezzi, and Camelia Umayma Yusuf. If you haven't purchased the book, you might want to get it. A lot of these writers are brave and unflinching in what they have to say about their Arab American experiences and their relationship to the Arab world. Through their voices, they show how diverse and rich and complex the Arab American community in the Detroit metropolitan area has been and continues to be. They show our humanity. I see these voices as not only celebrating and in some cases critiquing Arab culture and society, but also as acts of resistance against those who dehumanize, misrepresent, and try to undermine Arabs and our presence in America and the wider world. Just as the people united will never be defeated, our voices, Arab voices, will never be silenced. We'll continue to tell our stories in the face of racism, prejudice, violence, and grave injustices. Our voices will soar, our voices will prevail.
I just wanted to add a personal thanks to George Ellenbogen, because we really appreciate this award and all the Arab American Book Awards and what they've done to create a sense of community among Arab American scholars and writers. It's the most significant and a meaningful thing to me personally. And I also want to recognize Terry Bazzi, who's in the audience tonight. She's the only contributor that I've seen here. Stand up, Terry. Come on, come on. Her essay is beautiful and heartbreaking and painful and lovely. Thank you, Terry, and thank all the writers who contributed to this. Thank you, and to the museum especially, thank you.
Next, I'd like to bring attention to our honorable mentions in the nonfiction category. This year, judges chose 3 honorable mentions: Broken, The Failed Promise of Muslim Inclusion by Dr. Evelyn Alsultany; Learning America, One Woman's Fight for Educational Justice for Refugee Children by Luma Mufleh; and Sajilo, A Reader in Swana Studies, edited by Louise Cainkar, Pauline Homsi Vinson, and Amira Jarmakani. Dr. Alsultany and Luma Mufleh could not be here tonight, so we will accept the award on their behalf. At this time, I would like to welcome Louise Cainkar to the stage.
Thank you. I want to thank the Arab American National Museum and its Book Award committees for this wonderful award. I stand here representing myself as well as my co-editors, Pauline Homsi Vinson and Amira Jarmakani. Sajulu Arab American, A Reader in Swana Studies, was a labor in love. The driving motivation for this project arose from our desire to provide scholars with the reader we wish had existed when we entered academia. We arrived in the field at a time when we had few mentors, when we were offered question about why we were doing this work. We were often told to do something else and often censored. A censorship we distinctly tie to the Zionist project. Our vision was to collect in one place some of the most foundational works in Arab American studies, as well as some of the most forward-looking works. We did not want to create a canon, but instead produce something that remains open and even invites revision. The reader would not be possible without the work and steadfast endurance of scholars in our field. It's not an easy field to work in. Those of you who are in it know well. In this sense, this award goes to all of the authors in the volume and to all of the scholars of Arab Americans in the United States, in the world. The reader would not be possible. Finally, I want to talk about our process. Sajulu Arab American was built using a collaborative feminist approach. In addition to compiling and editing the work of each of our contributors' essays, we also, the editors, collectively wrote and rewrote the introduction and the openings to each section of the reader. Our process was intense and adaptive. We took turns taking the lead on writing the thematic introductions, then we assigned somebody else to rewrite them, and a third person to rewrite them, and then we commented on them. It was a very long and tedious project from which we learned a lot about each other and grew a lot. Throughout this truly feminist and transformative writing process, we learned things about the field that we didn't know before, and we validated each other and our long history of marginalization in the academy. Sajulu began as an idea in the fall of 2016. By late 2017, we had our first layout of themes and contributions. These would continue to evolve, in part due to space limitations. By March 2022, we were indexing galleys. All told, the volume is 6 years of consistent and untiring work. We hope you and many scholars to come will enjoy its fruition. Again, thank you very much.
The second award tonight is for our fiction category. Tonight we honor 2 books. The first book is The Stardust Thief by Chelsea Abdullah. This is a stellar debut, a richly crafted narrative with compelling characters set in a fresh landscape that is also steeped in tradition. It is my understanding that none of us are regular fantasy readers, the judges, but we all found this book impressive. Abdullah has created a sparkling world that is rooted in Arab lore, while also making the world engaging and accessible to readers, no matter their background. We wanted to celebrate the success that this novel has found in and beyond Arab American contexts and acknowledge the significance of establishing that success in the fantasy genre, historically dominated by white writers. Please welcome Chelsea to the stage.
Hello and assalamu alaikum, everyone. I am honored to be here in such esteemed and talented company. I want to start first by thanking the Arab American National Museum for having us all here, and every wonderful person on the award committee for their extremely kind words and for honoring my book. It is especially meaningful to receive this not just for my debut novel, but also for the book of my heart. Many people view fantasy as an escape from the real world. For me, this novel was a sanctuary. I started conceptualizing it during my undergrad years when I was going to school at CU Boulder and really missing Kuwait, which is home for me. I wrote The Stardust Thief to pay homage to my Arab heritage and to the stories that I had grown up with as an American Kuwaiti writer. It is a deeply personal project, so it always means a lot to me when it resonates with readers in a similarly personal way, when they see echoes of their own culture and traditions in the book. That was and still is very important to me, especially because the fantasy genre, like many other published media, has a history of depicting Arab-coded characters as harmful stereotypes. In many of the fantasies that I read growing up, these characters were nefarious villains and very rarely nuanced people. When I wrote The Stardust Thief, I wanted to write people and a world that reminded me of home. It only occurred to me afterwards that maybe it would show others that the Arab countries are more than just this war-torn, exotic amalgam that people see on the news. It is filled with people who are brimming with stories to tell, both their own true stories that are even now being erased and misconstrued in the media, but also the more joyful stories of whimsy and fantasy. I continue to hope that The Stardust Thief will invite readers to wonder, that it can be a home for some people, and for others an invitation to seek out and to listen to other narratives from across the region. Clearly, we have so many powerful and important stories to tell. To wrap things up, I'm going to read just a small portion from the book. Because this book is a story about stories, I wanted to share with you a scene that highlights that. The Stardust Thief is a celebration of the rich oral storytelling tradition in the region, and this scene is, in its own way, a celebration of that tradition. It opens up with one of the main characters, Mazen, telling a story in a souk. "Can you manipulate the fire?" Mazen whispered to the jinn. A flame burst to life inside the lantern, glowing red and blue and green and yellow. Mazen considered it, and then he smiled. "Here's what I want you to do." It began with a clap. With a bright smile, he flashed at passers-by. He clapped again, and the fire in the lantern flickered. A third time, and it flashed white. A fourth time, and the flame darkened to the murky blue of the deep ocean. Some of the citizens paused to inspect the mysterious fire. On the fifth clap, the flame dimmed to a green that cast the area in deep shadows. Quite the crowd had gathered by then. A young boy pushed his way through it and pointed at the lantern, mouth hanging open. "How are you making it do that?" "What? This? Mazen lifted the lantern, looked at it for a long moment, then blew onto the glass. The audience stared in awe as the fire inside disappeared and then roared back to life. They cheered as if he'd performed some magic trick. He lifted the lantern with a flourish. Behold, this is no ordinary fire. The blaze dimmed further so that his audience was cloaked in darkness. This is an immortal flame crafted by none other than the Jinn King of Fire. The Jinn scoffed in his ear. Such pretty lies you spin. But Mazen did not think it was a lie at all. To him, stories were truths painted over in gold. He set the lantern down, neither here nor there, but long ago. The first story he told was of the so-called King of Fire, who was so fearsome he could burn anything, even the sand on which they stood. But the King of Fire was not without a heart, and he fell in love with a human, a girl who dressed in stars. The king loved her dearly, so dearly that upon his death he ordered the girl to bottle his flame so that he could watch over her always. The girl honored him by gifting his fire to her descendants and having them tend it forever. And it is that same fire you see before you. When the story was over, the audience clapped and cheered. Mazen grew drunk on their adulation. He forgot about the gold. He forgot about everything but the tales, which he told well into the night. He told them stories about the Himarat al-Ghaila, the fearful donkey creature that devoured children who strayed too far from home in the heat of the day, of Buderia, a fishman who drew his prey into the ocean by pretending to be a drowning human. And lastly, he told the story of the firebird, the majestic bird that trailed streaks of flame through the sky. Thank you.
The second fiction book we honor tonight is If an Egyptian Cannot Speak English by Noor Naga. Noor Naga breaks apart the novel form and puts it back together again, creating a new kind of narrative that interrogates the forces that impact Arab American and diasporic American storytelling and storytellers. In its concerns, themes, style, and structure, in its questionable footnotes, and the surprising turn in the third section, and in its vibrant poeticism, this is a book that questions the novel's ability to represent an entire culture or nation while embodying fiction's ability to make us feel and see the world in new ways. Naga's debut novel deserves recognition for its craft, its compelling characters and construction, and its refusal to be the last word. Please welcome Noor to the stage.
Hello, everyone. It's an honor to be here. I want to thank the Arab American National Museum. I want to thank all of you for being here with me today. I'm not going to read, and to be honest, have struggled with what to speak in this moment with all of you, just given the genocide. Yeah, it's sort of moments like this when I find myself really asking the question, what is the purpose of language? What is the purpose of narrative? This is a war that begins in language, begins with words, and I'm sure I'm speaking to a community that understands that. Yeah. Actually, I don't really know what to say. I feel there is a strong imperative now more than ever to be telling our own stories, to be fighting back, to be pushing back in the narrative, to be pushing back in our workspaces, in our communities, to be speaking to people who don't necessarily agree with us, who don't already understand, instead of, the thing that we do when we are experiencing a trauma, which is seek out like-minded individuals, seek out each other, and then say the same things to people who already know. I do feel there is a kind of deep imperative to reach out to the other, to reach out to people who don't actually agree, who don't actually understand and try to reach them. But I also understand how exhausting that can be, and that the sort of machine of war relies on our exhaustion. So, yeah, I'm sorry, this isn't much of an acceptance speech, but I just kind of wanted to have a moment with you to think, to ask this question of what do we do in this moment? What is being asked of us by the people of Gaza? What do we owe them? What can we do? And I'm just hoping that we can carry that sense of their voices and the responsibility, what we really do owe them as people who are living in the heart of empire, this American empire that is responsible. Yeah. This American empire that is responsible for the destruction of every single Arab country that we all come from. Every single one, without exception. Whether we're talking about Sudan, whether we're talking about Syria, whether we're talking about Palestine, we are currently in the heart of it. And I do feel a very strong sense of calling. And I just sort of wanted to share that with you. And I hope that we will all kind of go out into not our communities, into spaces that are not our communities, where there are not friends, and actually have conversations and try to change this narrative. Anyways, thank you very much.
Our next category for tonight is the Children and Young Adult category. This year's Children Award goes to Cathy Camper for her book, Arab, Arab All Year Long. Arab, Arab All Year Long is a colorful and visually appealing book that showcases the diversity across the Arab world. It is uplifting, positive, engaging, and full of cultural pride. It invites readers to learn more about the Arab traditions from January through December, sharing food, music, family customs, and celebrates the beauty and diversity of Arab life in old and new ways. Through poetry and vivid illustrations, one is carried through the text like a song, leaving readers prideful and joyful. Please welcome Cathy to the stage.
I want to thank the museum and especially this award for bringing us all together. This is the only award that recognizes Arab American children's books. And as a librarian and an author, you've probably heard maybe the Caldecott, the Newbery, those awards. Those are the white awards often. And then there's the Pierre Belpré for Latinx, but in American Library Association, there is no Middle Eastern award. So this is really important. And the Children's Cooperative Book Center, which tracks diversity in children's books, the last count they came out with, only 3% of children's books were Middle Eastern. So that is part of what we're struggling against. And as an author and an outreach librarian, I would go into schools every day, and I always presented myself as Arab American. And if there was any Arab kids in the class, they would come up to me. I mentioned last night 2 Egyptian boys that mobbed me and said, "What are your favorite foods? What's your favorite foods?" And when I went to Oakland, there was a little Yemeni girl that had just immigrated, so knew no English. But she walked around holding onto my shirt and followed me around the room. And that woke me up that it's not just what I write, it's my presence. And working with kids, I am always filled with hope because they are our future, and I see so much change in each generation coming forward, and even in the resistance going on for Palestine right now compared to decades ago. I want to thank Candlewick Books and my editor, Andrea Tompa, and Sasan Chalabi for her wonderful illustration. She's also Lebanese American. I also wanted to say I wrote this book so kids can see themselves, but also so all the other immigrant kids and kids in classrooms can talk about their experience with foods, with holidays, with learning to write and learning to drum, because through sharing our experiences, that's how we break down this hate and misunderstandings we're seeing. So I'm just going to read you a few things. The one for November is sadly very apt. It's when days grow dark and cold and winds blow strong, I wear my keffiyeh to keep my memories warm. So this goes out to Palestine, but Lebanon, Sudan, everywhere, right? We keep them in our memory. And to end on a little happier note, the book ends with a cheer. Looking up at the stars or skateboarding in the sun or waiting for the bus with our headphones on, no matter where we are, no matter what we do, we're Arab, Arab, Arab the whole year through. Thank you.
The YA Award, the Young Adult Award, honors Nora Lester Murad for her book, Ida in the Middle. Ida in the Middle transcends genres and masterfully highlights the life of young Arab Americans. It is a coming-of-age story that can be relatable to immigrants from all backgrounds, all ages, giving voice to those who have been misplaced or forced into refuge. It explores identity, voice, and belonging, and brings to the forefront common issues in Arab American households and beyond. Readers can't help but be intrigued as the main character navigates challenges and grows in confidence, strength, hope, and love for herself, for her family, and for her roots. Please welcome Nora to the stage.
Trigger warning, I haven't slept in 33 days and I might curse. The humanitarian corridor between my head and my heart was bombed. Passive voice, no perpetrator. As a result, my head which wrote this book, in cooperation, not collaboration, with my heart, now has no life force. I'm too tired to be angry and too angry to sleep. I spent more than 6 dead children trying to write some worthy words for tonight. Yes, I mark time now in the number of dead children in Gaza. But no worthy words are left north of the Wadi, and the ones in the south are dehydrating to death. I'm honored, I really am honored, and so grateful for the Arab American Book Awards and the Arab American National Museum. And I feel proud, or at least I remember feeling proud, because now I just feel broken. This genocide was planted, pruned, watered, and harvested in children who grew up in our schools here. And today, your children, our children, study alongside tomorrow's Bidens and Blinkens and Trumps and Cheneys and Pompeos, who, as we sit here celebrating, which is not wrong, life is not wrong, they are reading the lies and the hate that will make them the genociders of tomorrow. The ADL knows that schools are the most important front line in the narrative war, but we prefer to wait till they grow up when all we can do is remedial. We have to do better. Buy Palestinian books for your children so they can see in stories that they are not invisible or crazy or terrorists. Buy books for non-Palestinian children and their teachers, librarians, and their neighbors to plant in them a small seed of doubt to undermine the wolf asshole blitzer and the Anderson idiot Cooper and the goddamn New York Times. And let us cultivate those seeds of doubt with books and books and books and more books until the lies lay naked and the world unites to take colonialism down. So it seems I did find a few words left on the shelves in my otherwise empty mind. And although I can neither inhale nor exhale, while Bisan, Mu'taz, Ahmed, Noor, Bilal, Mu'tasim, and are narrating their own slow deaths, I do sincerely thank you. I thank the Arab and Muslim and Palestinian book communities for this honor which I received today in the company of people who have welcomed me for 40 years and given me a reason to hope.
Additionally, the judges for this category awarded 2 books in as honorable mentions. Mama in Congress, Rashida Tlaib's Journey to Congress by Adam Tlaib, Rashida Tlaib, and Miranda Paul, and The Turtle of Michigan by Naomi Shihab Nye. First, I would like to welcome Naomi Shihab Nye to the stage.
Thank you all for your deeply moving words. I would just like to underscore everything Noor Naga said and all the rest of you because I'm so humbled and touched to be in your company. And as a Texan now, I would really like to trade governors with Michigan, if there's any possibility. And I'm very happy that this is the first book I've ever written that's on the Michigan Notable Books list for kids. It's been interesting to be in the children's novel world because both The Turtle of Oman and The Turtle of Michigan were adapted for the stage by the playwright Jonathan Ray in North Carolina. And both books, Turtle of Oman came out in 2014 and then this one last year. These books were, or 2 years ago, whenever it was, these books were both adapted for Little Read in North Carolina, which meant, as Noor was suggesting, that I would be with a lot of kids who had never met any Arab people, didn't know any Arab Americans in their very, very rural schools, and they would talk about a book with Arab characters and see a play on stage, incredibly performed by North Carolinians, none of whom were Arabs. And it was transporting, in all ways, and the conversations about culture and care that we shared continue to nourish me during these terrible times for so many people. And I appreciate your care for books here at the Arab American National Museum. It's always a feeling of coming home to come here. And I appreciate all you writers and readers for the support that you give to one another and to our communities. Thank you.
I would like to invite our next honorable mention, Adam Tlaib, for his book, Mama in Congress, Rashida Tlaib's Journey to Congress.
Thank you to the Arab American National Museum for giving me the Arab American Book Award honorable mention. Thank you to my family, my brother Yusuf, my Baba, and my mom, who inspires me every day. I was interested in stories from a young age. In elementary school, I created a fictional land of heroes who fought for the underdogs in society. Today, I have a passion for activism and politics that my mom helped galvanize within me. It all started when I went to protests with her against Marathon Petroleum and later against the Muslim immigration bans in 2017. All of this laid the foundation for co-writing Mama in Congress with my mom and beginning my own work in activist and political spaces. During the pandemic, we decided to use our spare time to write a story about her story, in which, against a mountain of obstacles, from debate club to law school to the halls of Congress, she succeeded through it all. She fought for the silenced and ignored in our community and other communities across the nation. Through this book, and by narrating her story, I hope to inspire the next generation to create change, no matter their background, as we all have the power to create change. It is important now, with our government supporting a genocide in Gaza, for Palestinian voices to be heard when we are being silenced and ignored. Censoring our voices only makes them louder. I hope my mom's story opens the door for people from marginalized communities across the nation to finally have a seat at the table wherever they may be. From Puerto Rico to Hawaii to Palestine, colonialism must end. Thank you for your time.
We're going to shift genres once again to poetry. This year, the George Ellenbogen Poetry Award goes to O by Zeina Hashem Beck. Zeina Hashem Beck's O is an expansive and experimental work through the echoes and impossibilities of translation in the duet form. This book weaves between English and Arabic to push the limits of what a poetry collection can hold. Here, love poetry is presented alongside and entangled with an intergenerational poetics of motherhood, grief, the expansiveness of our contemporary living, as well as its seemingly mundane details. Here is a poetry book that feels like music, where the poems operate as a collective constellation resonating across each other into the shape of an O. Through form, after form, from sonnet to ghazal to ode to triptych? Okay, thank you. Beck's book captures Tamara Edward Said's framing, the thank you. Existence so many in our community experience across the borders of countries, of languages, and within the social forms of our living. Here is a singular, unforgettable contribution to the emerging constellation of Arab Anglophone poetics. Please welcome Zeina to the stage.
حلوين من يومنا والله وقلوبنا كويسة. A line from a song by Sayyid Makkawi. A line I grew up listening to. A line that sings, we've always been beautiful and our hearts good. I'm grateful to be among beloved hearts tonight and truly honored to receive this particular award because it means the work is seen by those who respect, understand, and love where I come from. Where I come from physically is Tripoli, Lebanon. Also where I come from is the Palestinian cause. Like a lot of us here, I've been barely able to function for the past weeks as we witness the genocide in Gaza. I feel rage. I feel helplessness. And I believe Palestine will be free. It will. That none of us are free until Palestine is free. Our hearts are broken, but our hearts are well. Our hearts are broken, but our hearts are well. We, the storytellers, recognize writing isn't enough. But we must realize defeatism is too easy, and at times even self-indulgent. We must remember we are not alone. We must remember language is a powerful tool. We must keep speaking the truth even as we acknowledge our fears. We must remember we are the keepers of names, the guardians of memory, the disruptors, the provocateurs, the haunters. And you might think in moments of despair that this doesn't matter, but I'm here to remind you, and myself as well, that it does, even if only in a small way. Otherwise, why are all these colonial powers trying so hard to intimidate and silence academics, journalists, students, writers, and teachers? We, the children of Arab Springs, we, the students of Lord and Darwish, we, the children of the Palestinian cause, will teach our children, and they will teach theirs, and they will teach theirs, and they will teach theirs. Our hearts are broken, but our hearts are well. Where I come from is the Palestinian cause. So, من Michigan, هنا فلسطين. From Michigan, this is Palestine. All right, I'm going to read a poem, but a little bit of humor in between. My 15-year-old daughter said, I must acknowledge that I have been dressed by her tonight. So this is just so I don't get told off, and that I must return the dress because this is her dress. I must return it. All right. This is Savage Sonnet. We salvage ourselves. We savage ourselves. October's mean grief deep into our bones. Can you spell worship? Do you mean warships? Are family trees reddening, you ask? When I say grief, I mean rage. I mean strong. I newswater my nightmares. I blue song, who evaded at least 2 wars, can't sleep. What do histories say to holy books? That we remain silent, fear for our jobs when hospitals are bombed? Do you believe walls sever memories, and is God there? This didn't begin with our people, no. Ask any natives, and they will tell you, the lands remember even when tongues don't. The lands remember even when tongues don't. Ask any natives, and they will tell you this didn't begin with our people. No walls sever memories. And is God there when hospitals are bombed? Do you believe that we remain silent, fear for our jobs? What do histories say to holy books who evaded at least 2 wars? Can't sleep. I newswater my nightmares. I blue song when I say grief. I mean rage. I mean strong are family trees. Reddening, you ask, can you spell worship? Do you mean warships? Octobers mean grief. Deep into our bones we salvage ourselves. We savage ourselves.
Next, we have our first honorable mention in poetry, Noor Hindi, for her poetry book, Dear God, Dear Bones, Dear Yellow. Please join me in welcoming Noor to the stage.
Hello. Thank you to the Arab American Museum. Thank you, Rima. Thank you to my loves. Thank you for creating a space for community. I'm going to go over the 5 minutes. I'm going to ask for maybe 8 minutes. I want to read a poem by Musab Abdullah, who's in our Palestinian anthology that's coming out with Haymarket Books. I've been co-editing that with my friend George Abraham, who will be also reading some poems from the anthology tonight. But I want to bring Musab in the room as a way to bring in Gaza in the room. So this is Musab. On Gaza seashore. I convince myself that a palm tree never bends, nor do its dates rot. I imagine the sky only occupied by birds and swollen clouds. I walk alone along the beach and never fear getting drenched by the cold, silent waves. Should you find me asleep, be sure I am either dreaming of roses and doves or staring into the void beneath me. I will dress in my rosy suit and walk to the port, even though I know no ship is arriving. My hope is that you will come flying to me on your tireless wings. I will collect seashells and pebbles to build a house for us on the beach until you come. I don't know how many houses I will have built before you come. I'm afraid I will rebuild Gaza by then. I'm going to read a poem and deliver some remarks. And thank you again. If not the screams of our mothers disrupting the clouds, if not her hands, if not our trauma sold to the white gaze, if not the palm trees drizzled in blood, if not the sky pissing in panic, if not our children, if not our children, if not the graves, if not the bombs pulverizing the land, if not the suits, if not the silence, if not a solution, if not the cats scurrying away, if not the rubbles, if not the tears, if not the names, if not your empty land acknowledgements, if not a genocide, if not Shireen, if not the bullets, if not the prisons, if not the news not breaking you, if not our men, if not our blockade, if not our children, if not our children, if not our children, then never mind your future. Our mothers knit scarves out of our flesh. Our children live forever. Our voices language beyond the graves. Our fathers slip tenderness into our palms. Our shoulder blades become wings. Palestine will live. Yaba, I'm telling you, Palestine will live. It is alive. Yaba, you can turn off the news to listen to the birds. Each song is a song of resistance. Each chirp, a call for joy. Yaba, it is written because I am writing it so. We will find that fig tree you dream of. We will smash the fruit between our teeth. We will not mistake its sweetness for blood. I'm really happy to be in a room with people that fully see each other at this time. I'm very grateful for Dearborn. And I wrote a little love poem or a love letter to my friends and to this community. I hold few things to be true these days except for the love of my friends. I hunger for a future, though I do not see a future. I wake up and do not know where my body is. What time is it? What time do I want it to be? My body refuses this country, refuses the soil. I am tired of teaching it to endure. 2 months ago, I was planning a trip to Palestine with Baba. For years, I have been haunted by dreams of visiting Palestine, of my ancestors. Always, I am running toward a destination I cannot reach. Always, the door to my great-grandfather's home is locked. If I manage to enter, no one is home. No one is home. I cannot enter. There is no return. Do you know what it is like to grieve a country you have never visited? I want to go home and I feel tethered to nothing but this grief. Instead, I am at a march for Palestine in Washington, D.C., frantically searching for my father in a sea of 300,000 people. The drums are beating, the street is as loud as thunder, and my heart is spinning out of my chest. I convince myself of a faulty equation. If I find him, I will find Palestine. I never find him. I learn once more I am meant to keep wandering. I hang up a map of Palestine in my home instead. 2 years ago, I wandered into Dearborn from Ohio, the worst place to exist. I fell in love with the city's quirks, its shame, its movements, and its people. The old man singing Abdul Halim in a hookah bar, drunk and laughing with his friends. The Dearborn bros with their bad haircuts. The white pickup trucks. The reckless driving. The late nights at Spotlight dancing like there's no tomorrow. The Natasha Bedingfield concert at homecoming where we all felt the rain on our skins. All the Dearborn girls I've fallen in love with. The bad shawarma. The good knafa. Dearborn, I love your weird, I love you. And most of all, I love that you accepted this random girl from Ohio who called Dearborn Dareborn for an entire year before someone corrected her. My friend Wilson said to me, "We live in hell, and it is full of angels." I hold few things to be true these days except for the love of my friends. I wrote, dear God, dear bones, dear yellow in Ohio, a place where no one could pronounce my name correctly, and I was isolated from the people and the community that make my heart beat. I launched my book in Dearborn and got the specific privilege of speaking directly to the audience I spent my entire life desperately yearning for. To be celebrated with my friends tonight feels nothing short of magic. Dearborn is the closest I'll ever get to home until Palestine is liberated, and one day it will. So that is what I'm holding on to these days, my friends. Mashallah, our strength. Mashallah, our tenderness. Mashallah, our joy. Mashallah, our aliveness. I love you alive in my yellow home. I love you alive sharing breakfast. I love you alive on the dance floor, in the streets, in the privacy of your recklessness, your loneliness, your grief. I love you alive as we are each other's past, present, and future. I love you alive here with me enduring. I love you alive, relentlessly pursuing joy because we are entitled to joy. Dear friends, we are not dead yet. The telephone of my heart will always ring for you. Thank you.
Sorry. We're good. Our second, sorry. I'm collected, okay. Our second honorable mention in poetry is Lubna Safi for her book, Your Blue in the Quiet Lament. Please join me in welcoming Lubna to the stage.
Thank you. Oh, wow, you can't really see anyone up here. All right, thank you all for being here. Thank you to the Arab American Museum and to the judges. Bear with me, my thoughts are fragmented, and I dedicated this book to my cousin who was martyred. This beautiful word, shaheed, martyr, that they're trying to demonize in the media right now. Shaheed, as you all might know, means to bear witness, the body bearing witness to oppression, the body itself bearing witness to oppression, but also telling us to see the oppression. That oppression that takes and makes me wonder, did I not see all that oppression before? The martyrs of Sudan, the martyrs of Congo, the Uyghur martyrs. Did I do enough? Did we do enough to stop that ethnic cleansing? I saw a picture of a Palestinian woman hugging an olive tree. The despair, the grief in her eyes, I can't stop unseeing. And in Islam, there's this belief that everything will testify before God on the Day of Judgment, and even the trees will testify, and I'm terrified at that testimony, at the thought of that testimony. I'm going to just read a poem by the Syrian Kurdish poet Jolan Haji. It's called A Tree Whose Name I Don't Know. No bell rings and no one comes. How many days have passed without message or phone call, where I locked myself in and lost the key, and I too sent no message and phoned no one. I, who am tormented, bandaged, and wilted by words, I talk to you, tree whose name I don't know. Neither my hunger nor my thirst matter, since I've sucked on the tenderness of your silence. Alone I've come to you to sit beneath your vast mercy. I am small, A blossom begets me in white oblivion. A blossom shrouds me. The breeze follows my funeral. I don't caress girls, nor do they caress me. And like you, I don't know my name. Poor are my words that rise and fall like the hiccups of a babe in arms in the haze of another language. And my skin talks to you with 1,000 small mouths. It drinks sunlight with you. The son of my ancestors whose hair turned white in their childhoods when they panicked. Terrified by the revenge of wounded serpents. Nobody knew how long the horror would last or until when the serpents would keep swimming in the waters of dream. Until the harsh became tender and the hair at their temples whitened. My grandfather aged in his youth, paralyzed by a stray bullet, treatable only by pain. They laid him down on a rug of goat's hair. Motionless and naked, they locked the door and windows to his clay chamber and released the wasps in his house, white beneath the April sun. He waited for quickening pace to return to his feet. Like him, like you, my waiting has been far too long. Dead hours are my most fertile. Are they happy, the old people of this country I came to as a guest? Happiness here is as white as old age. I see the fearful, infuriated and shouting, and behind my dark eyes, 2 gods are slaying a sleeping prisoner. O tree whose name I don't know, each trembling blossom is hope arrived. Your petals have fallen on the crown of my white hair, and for this long waiting, my roots have turned white like my mother's hair in the dark years. Silently I talk to you, I whose fear has become sadness, and you who beauty startled into blossom. I just want to end by mentioning the people of Syria, who I also dedicated this book to. They've been themselves fighting tyranny, and they've been coming out in solidarity with the Palestinians. And so here's to the near and swift fall of tyranny, free Palestine and free Syria.
The last award for the night is the Anan Amri Lifetime Achievement Award. As has been the theme all night, the Lifetime Achievement Award recognizes the exceptional body of work by an individual or organization and their contributions towards advancing the field of Arab American writing and letters. To introduce this year's awardee, please welcome the director of the Arab American National Museum, Dr. Diana Abu Ali, to the stage.
Good evening, everybody. Before I start the work that I'm here to do to introduce our Lifetime Achievement winner, I just want to say a few quick words. I'm not as eloquent as those that came before me, so I'll keep it brief. But I just want to say that I've been here for almost 5 years in this role, and I don't think I've ever felt the importance of this museum as I do tonight. Like all of you, it's been a very hard few weeks, not as hard as it is for others in Palestine. But I am so happy that we went ahead with this event tonight. For us, for a moment there, we were wondering whether we should cancel it or not, given what's happening, the genocide, the ethnic cleansing. And I'm so happy that we didn't. I think this tonight shows me that it was very important for us, and it will be important for us to continue to come together and to be together through all of this. So thank you, all of you, for coming, and I really want to thank all of you who spoke before me. Your words are wonderful and moving, and I am just so happy to be here with you. It is my great pleasure to present the Anan Amri Lifetime Achievement Award to Naomi Shihab Nye. Naomi Shihab Nye is an acclaimed Palestinian-American poet, essayist, and novelist, known for her heartfelt and evocative writings. Composing poetry since the young age of 6, her work epitomizes the essence of Arab American literature. That is, Naomi's words build a bridge between two seemingly different communities so that they may safely learn they have more in common than they realize. Whether it be through her poems, essays, or children's stories, Naomi showcases the complexities of identity, culture, and belonging, offering insights into the Arab American and even more broadly, the immigrant experience. Naomi's impact extends beyond the page. As a teacher and speaker, she has inspired countless aspiring writers and poets, nurturing the next generation of literary talent. One of the main reasons why Naomi has had such a profound impact on both Arab American and American literature is her ability to bring forth the universal human experience through her doubled capacity for imagination. Her works often delve into themes of migration, family, heritage, and the struggles of being caught between two worlds. Naomi's poignant verses resonate with readers from various cultural backgrounds, fostering a sense of empathy and understanding. When we think about poetry, we don't often think of its civic responsibility. However, in an interview with the Academy of American Poets, Naomi spoke of the poet's duty to evoke a sense of curiosity in the reader about the lives of others. Her work is a testament to this duty. Through her heartfelt writings, she creates an indelible bridge of understanding between cultures while championing Arab American letters, leaving a lasting legacy that continues to inspire and shape the literary world. Please join me in honoring Naomi Shihab Nye for her lifetime achievement in giving expression to the Arab American story and its voice. Your paper still here.
I think it's my paper, no, it's not. Thank you, Diana. Thank you, Rima, and everyone here tonight for your incredibly touching words. Diana just said empathy, and to me, the real achievement would be if this was not happening in our world. And the fact that it is continuing to happen simply says to me that we have to keep writing. We have to keep speaking. We have to keep believing in the spirits of all the positive things that have made us who we are, in the beautiful culture which each one of you represents, in the spirit of all the people who inspired us, whom we met, or whom we didn't meet, whom we only read. 3 people I was privileged to meet and know who inspired me so much in my life were 3 great Palestinians, Fadwa Tukan and Mahmoud Darwish, who said to me the first time we ever met, "I thought you were younger." I said, "I was, weren't you?" Weren't we all? And Dr. Selma Hadra Jayusi, whom I was so privileged to work with for many years, even though I do not speak Arabic fluently, as so many of you do, and I'm so ashamed about that. But I worked as a modifying translator for her projects. And Salma used to say, if we read each other, we might be less likely to kill one another, don't you think? And you would think, right? You would think. My Siti used to say, the reason the Israeli soldiers are coming into my house and tear gassing me is because they don't know my stories. They don't know our stories. But I think they do know stories. I think we all know stories, because how could we have lived without them? So what I don't understand at this later age is, how do people forget stories? How do people give up empathy? The beautiful poet of New Mexico, Denise Chavez, wrote to me last week and said, Naomi, I'm not Palestinian, but we have to do something together because we're poets and we love life. And I want Zeina to be our moderator on this event, and I want Noor to be speaking. I want all of you to speak when we do some Zoom event because we need every one of your voices to hold us together and hold us up. In the spirit of my brave father, Aziz Shihab, who was first a radio journalist for the BBC starting when he was 14 years old in Jerusalem, and then who came to the United States, to the Midwest, American Midwest, Kansas and St. Louis, and worked as a newspaper journalist for most of his life. My brave, amazing mother, Miriam, Naomi was her middle name, for her just her wonderment, her open heart, her marrying the first Arab she ever met. Everything about her. She was an incredible woman. And I'm just turning in next Friday a book about her. So I've been thinking about her and celebrating her a lot in my heart right now. How brave are the rest of us to do what our parents and our ancestors did. My Siti never became bitter, though she lost her home in 1948. She was always hoping for a better day. She was always climbing that ladder to the rooftop to watch the sunset because she said she would sleep better if she could see the sunset. And worrying very much about Mossab Abu Toha and all of his neighbors and friends. I've still never met Mossab in person, but I've probably Zoomed with him more than any other person I know, and talked on the phone and just been in touch with him for so long before his incredible book came out last year. And any of you who don't know his book, Things You Might Find Hidden in My Ear, that was brought out from City Lights Press in San Francisco. That was so incredible, and was a National Book Critics Circle finalist last year. Please keep Mossab and everyone he cares about in your heart. And for all of you here at the Arab American Museum who keep encouraging us out there in the field and letting us know you're listening and that we do have a family, we have a tribe, we belong to one another, and it means so much. And I often think about how I grew up not knowing another Arab American writer, and now I know so many, and what a gift that has been. So I am very proud of all of you for the books you're writing and making, and I'm very proud of Rashida, your mother, for speaking up so bravely all the time. And very proud of people like Evelyn Shakir, who continue to inspire us, all the people who inspired us, who listened to us, who didn't call us other, who welcomed us in. And also for all my Jewish friends who are so traumatized right now. I am probably getting more traumatized emails from them daily than I am even from my Arab friends. So I'd like to read for Mossab and everyone here, Moon over Gaza. And I wrote this, as Americans or Arab Americans, I think we maintain a little bit of a rebellious spirit, which serves us. But I was in Japan working once with teenagers in 3 schools, and I heard a famous Japanese poet came in to do an evening event with us, and he said, no one should ever write about the moon anymore because the moon is so tired. And suddenly I was seized with a need to write about the moon every day. So this is Moon over Gaza. So this is not only my writing for the moon, I am speaking as the moon, which is really brazen. But thank you all again for being so generous to give me this award. I don't take it lightly. I think it's really for all of you and your generosity. It's nothing I've done. Moon over Gaza. I am lonely for my friends. They liked me, trusted my coming. I think they looked up at me more than other people do. I, who have been staring down so long, see no reason for the sorrows humans make. I dislike the scuffle of bombs blasting very much. It blocks my view. A landscape of grieving feels different afterwards. Different sheen from a simple desert, rubble of walls, silent children who once said my name like a prayer. Sometimes I am bigger than a golden plate, a giant coin, and everyone gasps. Maybe it is wrong that I am so calm. And I'd also like to thank you all for the great dinner tonight, which means a lot to those of us who get off planes. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. Special thanks to our readers for sharing their work with us. It was my honor to be your MC tonight. I encourage you to purchase and support the work of each of our featured authors. As a reminder, we do have an open mic starting in approximately 15-ish minutes, 8:30, hosted by George Abraham. This is an open mic for Palestine that will gather us in rage and mourning, so please stay and join us for that. You can still sign up for the open mic by scanning the QR codes located behind select seats in the room and around the walls. There's also still food and drink upstairs, so if you are still hungry or need something to drink, please go have some. Thank you very much and have a wonderful night.